Hello, 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 and welcome to this week's episode of the Confidently You podcast. How are you? I'm Helen, your host and head coach at Fit Girl Club, HQ, health, wellness, fitness, making women just feel better. That's what I do. I don't want to put a label on it, girls. Don't want to put a label on it. I say this every week, and I need you to write in and tell me, what do I do? Because when I say fitness coach or PT, also, if you're brand new listening, I do know what I do, by the way. Who am I? You're meant to tell me. But when I say like fitness coach or PT, I think there's this perception that I'm this like either drill sergeant in a gym, or I was reading these stories. You probably all don't know about this, but there's this thing gone on in the fitness industry where it's like bodybuilders and they've gone on this photo shoot in Marbella or something, and they've been scammed out money. Anyway, it's terrible. It's awful. It's disgusting. But I am not that fitness coach. One, I don't scam people, but two, I wouldn't be like, right, come, let's do prep and eat a certain way. I help women feel better, have better nutrition, better habits, feel better in their own skin, have more energy, and just live their best life. Whereas when I think of fitness coach, and I think of those people like bodybuilders eating chicken and rice or fish and a rice cake, then I'm like, I'm not that. So yeah, I wonder, health and wellness, is that me? Oh. Then I also don't want to be like wellness woo-woo. No, I can't decide. I'm just Fit Girl Club. That's who I am. I'm just me. It's just me. How are you? How's your week been? How are you getting on? How is life? How are you? Half the year has gone, which I think is crazy. And I know they say as you age, the years and go faster, but seriously, I remember like New Year's Day, half of the year. Crazy. Anyway, I'm not just going to reminisce about where the time's gone. Let's talk about the future. But we are going to go into the past today. We're going to go into the bit of the past. Before that, though, I'm going to tell you all about my running journey. So if you don't know me, I'm doing an ultra marathon, a 50-mile race. And I always use the term race. If you're not watching inverted commas race, I will not be racing anyone. I'm there to just complete it, not to race. Absolutely not. I'm not at the pointy end of that, but I'm there to have a good time. So it's actually 2 weeks on Saturday. And you know what, girls? I got a bit of a butterfly in my tummy then when I said that. But I'm prepared. I'm ready. I've done it. I've done the work. I booked it last September. I put my plan together and I have executed it. Has it been perfect? No. Have I had to miss weeks for injury or illness? Yes. Have I had to drudge through times when I'm like, oh, I don't like this? Yes. Has it been hard? Yes. Have I enjoyed it? Also, yes. Have I had failures? You know, I've had multiple falls. I fell again on Friday, but I actually fell this time. I tripped on a tree branch. And I'm like, oh, I didn't see you. Whee! And I actually rolled this time a bit, so I'm learning. But yeah, I'm getting there. And if it was tomorrow, I could do it. My legs are very tired this week, though, because I had my peak week last week. So peak week is where you build up like a crescendo of that's the most training I'll do. Some people are like, oh, you're going to run the distance before you run it? No. You run that volume in a week, ideally. And I actually did more than that. I did more than 50 miles. I did 52 point something and 2 hours on the Stairmaster with my pack on. So I did more than the miles, more than the elevation in a week. I did a 20-mile long trail run, which was stunning, absolutely stunning. But trail runs, if you don't know, sometimes I was running through like knee-high grass, and that's like, I'm not really running here. It's really hard work. It was absolutely beautiful. I was just running along and all these butterflies were just flying around me. And I was like, oh, I'm just like living in my own little like Disney princess world on my own, out in the world, loving life. But I did that on Saturday after I'd done a lot of days in a row, big days as well, a couple of hours a day. And it was Saturday morning and I was like, oh gosh, I wonder if I can do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to go try my best. It is what it is. I'll just go as slow as I need to go. And I went out and I actually had a really good day. So sometimes your head will hold you back more than your body. If you do the training, you put in the work, you sort your nutrition out and everything like that, you will be okay. Anyway, taper now. I start reducing the volume down for the next 3 weeks. So I'm still running this week. I'll still do like a 30-40 mile week, but nowhere near as much as I have been doing. And this is it, your body starts to recover before race day. But I will do a full debrief the week after the race, probably. I reckon I'll be in a state, but week after the race, I'll do a full debrief. So that'll be in 3 weeks. 3 weeks today, episode girls, if you want to hear all about my race and everything that went on and how I got there and how I've built up to that. But yeah, I did it. Peak week. Well done me. I don't know. Not that I didn't think I could do it, but it's the unknown. You've never done it before. And I don't know where I'm going to go after this race. I haven't made any decisions yet, and I won't make any decisions in the next couple of months. But that's training for a 50-mile race. Gosh knows how people train for a 100-mile race. I don't know how I could fit any more in. I was doing like over 2 hours of exercise most days. How do you fit more than that in? And I've got no kids or anything, and I've got a business, but I've got no dependents. Can't fit any more than that in. And I like to sleep. I refuse to sacrifice my sleep because I feel like crap. It's just not worth it. But anyway, this week's episode, I want you to go back in time, and it's going to be entitled, If I Was to Start My Journey Again, What Would I Do Differently? / What would I do? I think it's really important because I speak to a lot of people, speak to a lot of women, and I've been on this journey since I was 27 and I'm 39 now. So where I'm at now might seem a long way from where some of you are at. It might not either. And some people might look at me and go, oh yeah, but it's all easy and you can do this and you've done that. But I didn't. And I hadn't. And I know some of you will have listened to I think it was my second episode about Party Girl into Fitness Coach and how I changed my life and the improvements I made along the way. And I'm happy with how my journey went, but I did get some bad habits along the way. So there are things I'd do differently. And with the knowledge I have now and what I know, this is exactly what I do and how I do it. So I thought it'd be good to see a perspective of like, if I, waved a wand and I was back to knowing what I know now, but I was 27 again and I was overweight and unhealthy, what would I do differently? So the biggest one is food. It's your nutrition, right? And I always say this to anyone that starts with me. If you're wanting to lose fat, nothing else really matters. It does, but it doesn't. It's all about your nutrition. If you're not nailing your nutrition, it doesn't matter how much you're moving. Now for health, big disclaimer, you need to be moving, you need to be exercising. There's loads of reasons why. And I harp on about that. But for fat loss, nutrition. So when I first started, I was living on a tiny island called Porto Santo. It's actually like, I was kind of forced into certain situations, but it was the best things that happened to me because I was put in this destination that had nothing going on. I was used to I'd been a rep by this time for, I was going into my 5th year, and I was just used to the party lifestyle. Yeah, it'll be my 5th summer. Party, and I did winters as well, so it's just non-stop for 5 years nearly, party. And those habits had creeped up with me. My diet wasn't great. I thought I could just, in a ski season, go out skiing and lose the weight again, but it doesn't work that way anymore. A lot of people notice this when you go from university life to office life. You change as we age. You can't just do what you used to do. You can't just skip a meal and, drop a dress size. You actually have to start looking at your habits. What you did in your 20s, you just cannot get away with. I'd say teens and 20s, it creeps up after 25. 27, I'd say. And that's why I say really I help most women, usually over 30, but I'll help someone over 25, 26, 27. When you started to get that realization, you're like, ooh, these things that I've been doing are not benefiting me anymore. So one thing I did with my food that I would not do if I was to start again, I restricted. Now I was put in a situation where I could restrict, and I did restrict. So I'd skip breakfast, I'd have a light lunch, and then fish and veg for dinner. I'd eat hardly anything all week, and then one meal a week on a Sunday, I'd have a 3-course meal because I could eat in the hotel. Still drank. And I still smoked, just FYI. I smoked for 14 years. I told someone this the other day and they were really shocked about it. And I was like, yeah, I had really bad habits. I was terrible. Because I want to be transparent about that, because I don't want you to perceive me as this health fitness guru, oh, look at her. She's got it all together. She knows what she's doing. Because I also have overcome things. I haven't been like this my whole life. I've worked to get where I am today. And the reason I think that's really important is because you can then say, well, if she can do it, so can I. What's the difference between me and you? Nothing. If I can do it, why can't you do it? And I say this to everyone. I'm not special. Absolutely not special. And I did a lot of it myself as well. And got changes. So first and foremost, nutrition. You know what? I would get a coach. I'd absolutely get a coach. The difference between bumbling along by myself for years compared to having a coach telling me what to do. If in that first year, and I mean a good coach, it doesn't have to be me, but I mean someone who listens to you, doesn't just prescribe a diet, looks at your food plan, it helps you with moderation and is kind and caring and helps you track and lose body fat, but also enjoy the things you love and plan your life and take back control so that you have energy, sustained energy throughout the day and you're healthier. That sort of coach. That's what I do as well, by the way, if you hadn't guessed that. But the difference in what I bumbled along from 27 till I didn't really fix my eating habits till I was about, I'd say a lot of it happened when I got sober. A lot of different things happened then. So I think it was like a wake up call, got sober. I moved back to Scarborough. I then started working on my eating habits. No, it wasn't till after that either. I still wasn't eating breakfast. And it took me years to relearn habits because I thought to lose body fat, you needed to just eat less food, eat less, move more and restrict. And now I know it doesn't work that way. It's about fueling your body for energy throughout the day. I've been saying this a lot to my clients recently, and it's something a lot of women do. You'll skip breakfast or you'll not eat much in the morning, not eat much for lunch, and then overeat at night. And it's something I used to do as well. But if you think about it in the perspective of you get up at 6, 7, whatever time you get up, you then will do stuff, work, abilities, getting the children ready for school, getting the kids ready for school, all these other things, taking your dog for a walk, going to the gym, doing exercise, running around, blah, 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 blah. By the time you get to the evening, think about how much energy you've used. And then how much energy you're going to use in the evening, sat watching Netflix for a couple of hours, which you should do, by the way. I'm not telling you not to do that. Chill out, have a relax, get to bed, read your book. Lovely. You're not using much energy in the evening. I'd say about like 10% of your day. And then 90% of your day is running around like this and you're not eating. You wouldn't drive around without fueling your car. It baffles me because I did it as well. It baffles me that we all do it. We're running around on an empty tank. No wonder we feel stressed, exhausted, burnt out, tired, food noise. No wonder we have all this stuff going on because your body internally is going, help me. What are you doing? Fill me up. And once you flip that narrative, it'll make such a big difference to you in your life. So what I do differently now with nutrition, I'd have breakfast, protein, veggies. I lived in a hotel. Well, actually, no, I lived just outside the hotel. My reps lived in the hotel. I had an apartment just outside, but I could eat in the hotel every single meal. It was such a nice hotel as well. It's Pastana, 5-star. Do you know what makes a difference when you work overseas? It's the manager of the hotel. That's who makes a difference. I've worked in some hotels and the managers were awful. But if the managers are nice and look after you, it's like being at home. They're just so nice, and you work as a team. You work with the hotel as a team, and it's so good. And the manager there, George, he was this like old, wore a white suit and just a really good looking man, like 60-year-old, good looking man, like suave. Just like imagine like someone out of like George Clooney-esque sort of out of the film, or I'm thinking more like Pedro Pascal, but a bit older. And then his assistant manager was called Angela, and she was also like an angel. Just lovely people, just really nice people. Anyway, they just used to let us eat there all the time. And it was like home. And I could go to the buffet restaurant and have whatever I wanted. Now, I wouldn't be going and having, bacon and eggs every morning. Things like that. I'd be having fruit, yogurt, all that fresh, omelettes. I could have an omelette every morning from the omelette station. Imagine that every day of your life. Fresh food, fresh produce, and I'd start my day with that. Absolutely. For food. I wouldn't actually start my day with that. I'd start my day with that for food. I'd eat a lunch, chicken, salad, a bit of carbs, never need much, I wouldn't really eat much bread because it just bloats me, fills me up, and it'd make me feel tired in the afternoon. But like a nice fresh, like bit of rice or something, some like griddled fish. And then in the evening, again, same thing, maybe some more carbs, some potatoes, some pasta, some rice, or some fish and veg or chicken and veg, just like that. And I'd be happy with that. And then, like I used to every week on a Sunday, I'd have a pudding or something, which wouldn't bother me. I've never been that big a pudding fan anyway. And you know, it's like when you go overseas, those puddings they're those little like square. If I offend anyone that's not from the UK, I'm sorry, but pudding in the UK is like sticky toffee pudding and custard. Yes. But puddings overseas, it's one thing we do great, isn't it? UK. Woo! We do something good. It's just like a bit of like sponge. Small. So I'd maybe have some more fruit and yogurt or something like that in the evening. And imagine that's so much fuel for the day. I'd feel fueled, I'd feel well. If I needed a snack, I'd get like an apple, I'd have a coffee. Brilliant. Brilliant. And I'd do that the same now because that's like what I do here. Protein, veggies, just prioritise it. And then I wouldn't restrict. Now, the great thing when I started was when I got moved to Porto Santo, it's a real shame because I don't think UK holiday companies go there anymore, which is such a shame because it was just such a beautiful place. They had no takeaways. None. There's no McDonald's. They had one little supermarket that was the size of your local co-op on the whole island. They had one little, it wasn't even a takeaway. It's like you could get a burger. So I think we went once. It wasn't even decent. So I didn't have that need to get a takeaway or fast food or anything like that. We'd go for occasional meals out though, which were always really nice. But you'd get like the Portuguese chicken and potatoes or octopus and yeah, people are like, oh, but it's so nice. And these fresh, like well-cooked produce, just like nice food. And that's what I love now. I don't really like greasy food. I don't get takeaways. It doesn't bother me. The only time I used to really get takeaways and eat fast food is when I was hungover. So if I'd been drinking a lot. So when I first started my journey, I did stop drinking as much because my habits before I started getting healthier were sit on the balcony at night and drink a bottle of red wine and smoke 20 fags on my own. How sad. What a sad little life. But once I started changing things, I stopped that as well. I reduced it. I still used to go on the odd bender, but I just reduced it. So yeah, nutrition, I'd do things similarly. I would get a coach though, because a coach will just get you from base knowledge. And especially then we didn't really have the internet. We didn't have social media. Not really. Everyone had like Facebook, but not like it is now. You didn't have the knowledge or anything. And just to get you that knowledge from where you are to where you want to be and to help you get, I think that first step is always the hardest because this is where you can gain some like negative habits. And this is what I did. I started restricting and then I was like, bread is bad, this is bad. And I got really slim. And it was all just about being the smallest I could be. That's all I cared about. I went from a size, I'd say I was a 14 down to a 10. And now I'm happily a 12, 10 most of the time now. But I was down to a 10, like a really slim, I was small. Skinny. I have skinny arms and skinny legs as well. Skinny torso, I was just small. I'm not skinny now. Nothing wrong if that's your body type. But naturally, if you look at me now, you're like, well, you're not skinny, Helen. You're like, look how much, you see pictures of me, I've got quite a lot of muscle, even though now I'm a runner. So I would have got a coach just to get you like, even just to do like, I do a 12-week program so you can learn everything. And I think at the minute, the problem is, yes, you have all the information on the internet, but it's overkill of information. And you've got someone here saying, don't eat fruit. Fruit's bad for you, which absolute nonsense. Or you have to do this. You have to eat 6 meals a day. You have to do this. You have to do this. Find a coach that you resonate with and do a program with them. Don't let them sign you up for a year or anything like that, though. And honestly, the amount of women I spoke to recently, and they've been tried to like pulled in by coaches, usually is male. I'm sorry. These are sometimes male coaches that will prey on your insecurities and be like, oh, I'm a menopause coach. Shut up. They're not. I coach many women through menopause, perimenopause, but I'm just a female health and fitness coach, health, wellness, whatever. I help people through anything. No one's a specific menopause coach. None of them are. And then they prey on people's insecurities, which makes me really mad. But I've had a few women say recently, these coaches will get you on a call, and it's bad because it's bad for like my business, for those coaches that actually genuinely help and want to care, because then the people don't want to get in a call with me because they think I'm just going to be like, you have to sign up today, which I don't do. I'll give you time. You can go off and think about it. You can say no. And then they'll be like, it's like $3,000 for 3 months. No, that is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Okay, girls, listen up. You should be paying what something's worth, but think about like one-to-one coaching. How much would you pay for a PT session? Say, a couple of PT sessions a week. You'd pay like 60 quid, 30, 35 quid for a PT session. So you think you're getting with a coach, all your sessions, your nutrition and everything like that. So add it up. Think about what it's worth. $3,000, no. Less than that, but also it's not £10 a week for one-to-one. If you want £10 a week, there's £10 a week out there. You can go get group, but for one-to-one coaching. And it's an investment as well. Anyway, I digress. So that's what I do with my nutrition. I would get a coach. I would track calories because I'd like to just know where I'm at. Knowledge is power. I'd get someone that supports me so I'm not restricting, because I tend to restrict. So then when it comes to movement, oh my God, I don't like to have regrets in life. I don't think life's for regretting. You shouldn't regret anything. It's happened. All you can do is focus on the future. And that's one thing where my brain does work really well for me. I won't sit there and go, oh God, well, look all that time wasted, because I lived overseas for years. I spent, was it 6 years I was with TUI? So I worked for a company, the largest tour operator in the world, overseas in some amazing destinations, and I didn't do some things. Now I did some amazing things, like, what have I done? Zip lining in Jamaica, all the excursions that we provided for guests, I did. Some amazing excursions, you know, when it's not a good thing to do now, but swimming with dolphins, that was amazing, but you're not meant to do it. I'm a bit against that now. All the trips, all the things, you know, you used to get free water parks, you used to get it all for free. Everything was free. But I never went like scuba diving. Why? I never got my paddy license. I could have got my paddy license for free. When I lived in Porto Santo, on my birthday, one of the girls arranged for me to go paddleboarding. I only did it that once, and now I own a paddleboard, and I'd love to go more often, but I don't really live anywhere near water. Now, don't be saying I live near the Ouse, because I'm not going in that river, okay? But when I go to the lakes, or if I'm going to the seaside, I'm going over to the East Coast, I will take my paddleboard, which is great. But I had all these like shoulda, woulda, couldas. So if I was to go back in time, if at Magic One, know what I know now and go back, I'd be getting up at 5 or 6. I'd be going for a run in that, you know, that sunrise light and a swim. And it's, yeah, run and a swim first thing in the morning. When I go on holiday, I'll go to Australia. I get up early and I'll go for a run or a swim. I just like being active. I love it. But if I was starting then, because when I started, I couldn't do any exercise. I'd first, you know, walked into a gym and I was like, oh, I'll just go on the bike. That'll be easy. And I absolutely died. 20 minutes killed me. I mean, dead girls. Honestly, it was the hardest thing I've ever done. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily be going for a run or a swim then. But I'd be getting up, if I could change, you know, my habits, getting up first thing in the morning, getting out and going for a walk, you know, sitting on the beach doing a meditation or something like that. I lived in this glorious place. And I never used to get up early and go and do something first thing, which is what I do now. I get up at 6 every day and I walk my dog. I lived in these amazing places and I didn't really utilise it as much. But like I said, no shoulda, woulda, coulda, but I would still get up. I love getting up early. Now, I used to always be a night owl, for want of a, you know, better word. And, you know, people are saying like, oh, you're a night owl or a morning lark, one or the other. You're not. You can change who you are. I don't care who you are. Anyone can change, because I did. I changed who I was. I'd quite happily stay in bed till 10:30, 11 when I was younger, in my 20s. Now, even if I don't set an alarm, I wake up at 6:30. I love getting up early and I love going to bed early. So yeah, I do some morning movement. That's what I do. So being realistic, I won't be going for a run first thing in the morning, things like that, because it just wasn't part of my life then. But morning movement, getting some sunlight on your face, being outside, no phone. I just love watching the birds and stuff. Just, it's so nice. Just being out. I would work on my sleep. This is, I think, most of you underutilise this. I don't think enough of you focus on sleep properly. I'll speak to a few of you, and occasionally, I'd say 10% of the women I speak to are like, yeah, sleep, 8 hours a night, love it, always prioritise sleep. But the amount of us that don't, now I say us, I never used to, I do now. So if I went back in time, that's the first thing I'd be doing. I might get to bed and get up. Set bedtime and get up time, whether that's, you know, 10 till 7, whatever it is. I like 8 hours. Any of you getting less than 8 hours, honestly, less than 7, all right, I'll be fair. Less than 7, you're not functioning correctly. You all should be getting over 7 hours sleep. And you should be doing some work on getting the quality sleep, because the difference it has on your hunger, your energy, your mood, everything about your life will improve if you get better quality sleep. It's a free drug and we don't use it enough. Your skin will look better, you'll look younger, like anti-aging. And it's free. But you need to be prioritising it. You need to be doing some sort of relaxation before bed, whether that's reading, meditation, or just winding down, not on your phone, not watching TV. and then you need to be setting a bedtime. So like mine, it can range between like an hour. And I know some of you work nights and can't do that, so you have to do it as much as you can around those situations. And I do feel for people, and I've got clients who work nights as well. I get this. If you've got a baby, I understand it's not going to work that way. Gosh, my one experience of this week, poor Runa, she's got a bad tummy, and she woke me up at 2:30 the other night. And then it took me ages to get back to sleep because I was just like they're worried about her. So I do get that. It's not the same. I know it's not the same because you'll have a baby, it's waking you up, and that's you just in the trenches. You're just doing that. That's a period of your life, and you cope with that the best you can. But when you are, a normal working mum, or maybe you haven't got children and your kids are probably self-sufficient, or they're going to bed at 7:30, and you're then watching something on Netflix for 5 hours. Oh, just watch one more episode because it's my me time, whilst flicking through your phone probably at the same time. No. You always watch one episode of something, have a half an hour scroll, turn it off. Set yourself some rules and parameters because you will feel so much better for it. Quality sleep matters as well. I always recommend sleep for everyone. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, so if you have any ailments or anything, make sure that you deal with that first. But everyone should be taking some sort of like magnesium to help relax them. Magnesium's great. It's one thing we don't get in our diet, that and vitamin D. And sleep schedule, and then set your room make your room a sanctuary. Your room should be a nice, peaceful place that you go to sleep. And if I went back in time, that's what I'd work on. I don't know what my sleep was like back then. I didn't prioritise it. I definitely went to bed too late and getting up later. Next one is habits. So for me, knowing what I know now, I'd stop drinking then. I'd stop smoking. Friggin' hell. Why, smoking for me is like the worst habit. When I walk past someone now, I'm so sorry if you smoke. I'm judging you. No, I'm not judging you. But you can stop. There is help out there, and I do understand it. I'm someone who has worked through it and got through it myself. But think about what you're doing to your body. Like, it's just not as common anymore, and I'm so grateful for it, but I can't believe I actually did it for that long. And the drinking. Drinking affects your sleep. It then affected my mood the next day. I'd then eat crap. It's the only time I really ate takeaways. When I lived in Turkey, we used to go when we were hungover, which was all the time because we used to go out all the time. I was a team leader. I was a bad manager. We got the work done. We were really good. We got some of the highest scores in the world. This is what I mean. I was really good at my job, but we could go out and get absolutely hammered. Me and the team. So where my tattoos are from. There was a tattoo parlour 3 doors down from our favourite bar, and we'd go get pissed and then go get tattoos. We've all got tattoos. I'm covered in them from that summer in Turkey when we just have a few drinks and go, let's go get a tattoo. We just go do it. But then the next day, I'd be like, right, who wants to go? Because I had the company car, but who wants to go to McDonald's? We'd all pile in my car and drive to McDonald's, which wasn't even that. It was like a kilometre away from the office. And we'd get like Mega Macs, which is 2 Big Macs in one, large fries, chicken nuggets, God knows how many calories, just what I was putting into my body. Just no, yuck, no, not anymore. Like, each their own. If you like a McDonald's, go for it, enjoy it. You can get, cheeseburger, chicken nuggets, quite high like options. I'm not even saying it's not healthy. It's not if you're trying to be healthier, there's not a healthy McDonald's. Even the salads, I won't get the salad. If you go and get a cheeseburger, best option is to get a cheeseburger and chicken nuggets. So get cheeseburger and chips, get cheeseburger and chicken nuggets because you're getting all the protein as well. For me, I hadn't had one for years. Absolute years. I couldn't think of, no, thanks. I make my own chicken nuggets if I want some for cornflakes. Sounds boring, but I really like them. It's just not for me. But some people that, you like it, you still have your treats and that's allowed. I'm not saying be me, but when I look back at some of my habits, some of my negative food habits, all my negative food habits came from drinking. So if I went back and had my time again, I would just stop drinking then. At 27. Yeah. My life would have turned out quite differently though, I think, if I'd done that. Because then I'd have gone to Australia sober and I would have done things differently there as well. I might have ended up staying because I'd have become like a proper Aussie fitness person then. But yeah, habits. So if you are going to drink, just moderation. Please don't drink every night. If you have a drink every night, that is affecting your sleep no matter what. Try and make it more of an occasion and a social occasion, things like that. I'm never telling anyone to stop drinking, but me personally, it just wasn't good for me. And I could never stop at one. So habits I'd stop, yeah. I'd go back and I'd definitely stop smoking, but I'd stop drinking as well, straight away. Then exercise. Now, this is a fun one for me because you probably think, oh yeah, Helen, you'd start running and doing ultras and things like that. And I wouldn't. I actually wouldn't. When I first got into exercise, I was like, I don't want to lift weights because I don't want to be bulky. stereotype. But I did that for a few years, before I actually started properly lifting weights. And my friend there, Karina, I talk about Karina a lot, who actually still lives in Port Santa. I don't reckon she'll listen to this, but if you do, hi, love ya. And she was like, come to CrossFit. I was like, absolutely not. Come lift some weights. I was like, no. So I went to one session with her and I was like, I don't want to be doing this and lifting weights. I don't want to be doing that. And in my head, it was because I want to be skinny. So in my head, I was like, you can't lose fat by just lifting weights. That's not you need to burn it off, run it off. So I wanted to do cardio. So I started on the bike, then the cross trainer. And then I actually tell this story a lot because I can still see it. I went into the hotel gym one day and there was this woman running on the treadmill. She had this massive smile on her face and she was running what I perceived to be really fast, but who knows? She might be going really slow for what I perceive now. But to me, she just looked like this, like, this like angel moment. I was like, how are you doing that? And it's funny because now I'm that person in the gym just running for hours on the treadmill. And I think people do look at me and go, how is she doing that? Because I could just literally go in there for like a few hours. But what I'd do differently is, instead of just focusing on cardio, I would lift weights. I'd lift big weights, heavy weights. I'd get really strong. I only started doing proper strength training I started with the Y bells, which are like kettlebell, dumbbell and medicine ball in one. I've got a set and I used to use them quite a lot. They're part of my little home gym set that I've got. And they're fantastic. But that was more like HIIT/weights, like, what do we call it? Like weighted cardio. So you do burpees and push-ups and things that you'd be absolutely knackered after 40 minutes. But I'd honestly start lifting heavy weights, deadlifts, squats, things that don't knock you out, that build muscle, that build a strong body. So that you've got not only like, if you want to look toned, that's your muscle. You need muscle and you need to lose fat. So I'd work on my diet, lift bigger, heavier weights and get more muscle faster and stronger faster than I did. Because I do think I got to my mid-30s and I was getting really, really strong. I was like, God, if I'd have started this earlier, I never shoulda, woulda, coulda, but if I'd have started this like when I was teens or anything like that, I think I'd have been like a really good lifter. And I'd have still done some cardio in a mix of it, maybe some swimming, maybe some outdoor running, just some like nice stuff. Enjoy some little bits like that. And I'd still, 3 days a week would have been enough. And that's all I did when I started. And I won't push myself to it. I just build this really healthy, strong foundation. And from that, the world's your oyster. Because then you can be like, oh, I want to do, focus a bit more on my running, or I want to do this, I want to do that. And this is where I've got to now. I've built up enough strength and muscle from when I did CrossFit. And then after CrossFit, I just did like bodybuilding stuff. And then I got back into running again. I dipped into stuff and then stopped because I overdid it. And now I've gone back into it like what I'd say is the right way for me. And I've built up slowly, and that's how I've got to where I am today. But it's been a long journey. Like if you look at someone's journey normally, if I'd have done that strength training for a couple of years and just enjoyed a bit of running, I'd have maybe got into running quicker, or maybe I'd have gone back to CrossFit and I'd have been better at CrossFit because I really struggled with some of the upper body stuff, but my legs were really strong. Who knows? But like I said, never shoulda, woulda, coulda, because I'm so happy with where I am now and where I've got to be. Like everything I've done is amazing. Like I've done 2 High Roxys, I've done solo CrossFit competitions, I've done group CrossFit competitions, I've obviously run ultra marathons, I'm a distance runner now, and I love trail running, I love being outside. I used to love hiking, so it kind of amalgamates things I love together. And I'm grateful where I am. And then because I used to do a lot of weight training, I've got a lot of muscle mass, whereas a lot of runners struggle with the strength side of it, and then they get injuries because they don't have the strength. So I am happy with where I am, but if I went back, I would have started with the strength stuff, 1,000,000%. And all of you should be strength training. And when I say strength training, I mean some sort of resistance, some sort of weight, some sort of building muscle, whatever that way that'll be. And that's it. That's what I do differently. So basically, get a coach, or if not, work yourself in a reasonable calorie deficit without restriction, do some movement, get up, set a sleep schedule and get up first thing in the morning. Like get out if you can first thing in the morning. I know if you've got kids and stuff, you can't do that. I know you can't. But if I could go back, I'd do that. Improve some of your habits that aren't good for you, because you don't need it. I know some of you as well are like, oh, but I like my, coffee and cake with a friend. Change your habit. Just go for coffee and a walk with your friend. I think sometimes we like to indulge in these things. Like I loved a cigarette and I love getting pissed. Saturday night was like the favourite. Oh my God, you'd live for the weekend. For years I lived for the weekend, but it wasn't until I realised the highs the lows outweighed the highs that I changed my habits. But it's indulgence. It's indulging in certain things. And then once you come away from it and you step back, you're like, well, actually, I don't need that anymore. And that's how you change habits. But I hope you enjoyed that one. A bit more of an insight into like what I'd do if I was to go back in time. I know everyone's journey is different, but as long as you're making steps and progress forward, it might not be the right thing now, but you'll always, as long as you keep trying, it'll work out in the end. All right, have a great week and I'll speak to you soon. Goodbye.